In this video I made Bikini Bottom realistic. Ever since I watched SpongeBob for the first time as a child, I wondered how it would look in real life. So here's how I made it realistic in 1 week. I started by compiling reference material. Having accurate reference images is really important because there is always someone who knows every detail of the show and points out all of the mistakes I made. Once I felt like I had enough reference, I launched my 3D software Blender. Then I modeled the 3 main buildings. Patrick's house is basically just a half sphere. Squidward's house is a cylinder with some extruded faces and 2 windows and a door. I forgot to make the bamboo antenna on Patrick's roof, so I modeled that and put it on the roof. Oh, and I applied a displace modifier to make the surface less flat. Now the pineapple. The pineapple was by far the most difficult thing to model in this scene. There is not a single tutorial on the internet on how to model a pineapple in Blender. It probably took me 2 hours to figure out, but in the end I used the poke faces operation to get the diagonal edges. Then I extruded the faces and applied a remesh modifier so I could refine the model in sculpt mode. I probably should have used sculpting in the first place, but I was really happy with the result. Then I tried to model the leaves, but I failed, so I put that off for later and moved on to the interior of SpongeBob's house. This Reddit user actually posted a blueprint of the pineapple on r/architecture, which was extremely helpful because the rooms have different dimensions in every shot. I had the same problem when modeling the house from Rick and Morty in last week's video. In 2D, proportions just don't always make sense. Most of the furniture pieces, however, were really easy to model. After I was done modeling, I started applying materials. But before you start texturing, you always have to UV unwrap your models. While UV unwrapping, you basically unfold your 3D model onto a 2D plane, then you project a texture onto it, and lastly you fold it back into the original shape. But most of the time the software does it automatically. On day 3, I used Substance Painter to create all of the materials for the houses and also the interior of the pineapple. I made the blue bamboo wallpaper with the Midjourney AI image generator. If you type --tile in front of your prompt, the image becomes seamless and can be used as a texture without any visible cuts. Now I had to do the environment. For large landscapes, I usually have one big plane for the background and another smaller plane that has more detail for the foreground. I applied a sand texture to the ground and used a noise texture as a mask to blend in another sand texture to create some variation in the ground. I put an asphalt texture on the path and used texture painting to paint a mask to scatter some sand on the edges. On day 4, I used the mist pass to create some underwater fog. Then I scattered some colorful rocks on the ground. Next I made the flowers for the sky and also put them in front of the pineapple. Then I found this plant in the Botanic Assets pack, which worked really well as the leaves of the pineapple. To make the lighting a little bit more realistic, I placed a plane in front of the sunlight and projected a noise texture onto it. This way it looked like the sun was shining through a lot of water. Then I modeled the smaller houses for the background and placed some mountains in the far distance. On day 5 my computer rendered for 26 hours, and that's basically it. Subscribe if you want to see more of this. Alright guys, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe to my channel. And if you want to download all of the assets I created, you can join the Patreon. And thanks to everyone who already has joined the Patreon.